Okay, so here's the third video on the course. So this is just going to show you about how to felt your wall tops to produce a piece of fabric. So you will need, obviously, you've got your wall tops all laid out as demonstrated in the previous video. You then need some hot water. So just pour a little water. Try and just do this. You don't want it to be absolutely swamped in water, so I've just put a little bit on. I'm then going to take my other piece of bubble wrap, put it over the top, and then I'm just going to gently press this down. And you want to just check that, just carefully check it, that the whole piece is wet. Okay, I've got a few little dry strands, but I can see looking at it that the water will spread, so that's fine. I'm just going to move this across. So I'm going to then take my soap. So I'm just using a bar of soap, and I'm just going to rub the bubble wrap on the other side with some of the soap so I can get a bit of a lather going. Okay, so I've got a bit of a lather here. Just going to move that across and then squish it down again. Now, as I've previously said, felt is basically a non-woven fabric. So you're, by the process that I'm going to show you now, basically going to be matting it all together. So if you, I'll just quickly explain, on the end of the wall tops, if you put these under a microscope, so the fluffy bits, okay, if you put them under a microscope, basically there are you'll be able to see lots of little hooks on each of the fibres. And the felting process, what you're doing is you're rubbing your wall tops, and you're essentially getting all the little hooks to hook onto one another, and that's how you end up with a piece of felt. So I've put my soap on, the water's on there, it's pretty, my felt is wet but not kind of absolutely swamped in water. I'm going to then fold my bubble wrap, or put another piece of bubble wrap over. I find it quite good to just wet my fingers, okay, so you want to be able to slide, your fingers need to be able to slide across the bubble wrap. And then all I'm doing is I'm using a circular movement to work across the whole of my piece of felt. Now, what's really important to remember is that you use, you decide which way you're going to go. So I'm going in a clockwise motion. What you don't want to do is do some clockwise, some anti-clockwise, because basically you'll be undoing what you've just done. So I'm going to just look at my felt again, and you want to have a bit of like a decent sort of lather of soap on there. So you might need to apply a little bit more. Mine is still not soapy enough. Okay, so need to be pretty, I suppose the pressure that you use, it needs to be a firm pressure that you're using. I'm just using my fingertips. You might find it easier to use like the sort of palm of your hand, but you know, basically work through. So I'm working across the whole of my piece of felt, and I'm going to just keep doing that, and probably it will take around 5 minutes to do this. The more pressure you use, the quicker you will end up with your felted piece. So you need to, you might find it easier to stand up. If I just show you, so you can see it's sort of soapy. And the way to test your felt is to just pinch it. And if you can pull fibres up, then that means it's not ready. So you can see mine's way off being ready. I'm actually going to stand up and do this. It's easier. So circular actions, I'm going clockwise. I'm sort of using the tips of my fingers. You might decide to, I find it also you have to swap hands because it's quite a physical thing. It's really satisfying, but you get a bit of a handache. And you can see, look, it's really soapy. It's perfect. So just pinch, and if you can still pull felt wall tops. I mean, you might look, you could gently rub it. And if you find that your felt is moving apart, it's fine. You can just sort of put it back into position. And bubble wrap, what I'd say is, you can obviously go and buy some, but quite often things come in the post wrapped up. You also, like when I was working in schools, I used to do this with like a whole class, so I'd need a lot of bubble wrap. If you go to a supermarket and things, I'm trying to think, like bananas, fruit, come with bubble wrap in the bottom, I used to just go, obviously ask permission, but go through the bottom of all the fruit boxes in the supermarket and get the bubble wrap that would otherwise be thrown away. So you don't have to pay for it, it's all free. In fact, the great thing about felt making, aside from the wall tops, everything else is stuff that you should easily be able to lay your hands on. There's nothing like super specialist. So every so often, just gently peel that back, and you can see, look, it's coming. So I need to do a bit more, but this bottom part here is, I might just give it a quick rub like this. And if you find at any point that your felt is dry or not soapy enough, then just add some more. But you can see I'm just rubbing it here like this, and actually you can just move it back into position. So you need to rub for about 5 minutes or so. Obviously, if you're producing a bigger piece of felt, you're going to need to do this for longer. Yeah, it's almost ready. See, look, that bottom part is pretty much done, but I need to concentrate a little bit more. Right, so I do a final bit of a check. Yeah, So my felt is pretty much done. Just keep on, I mean, you might have the odd bits of fibre, but you just don't want to be able to pull up a load of fibres. Okay, so if you get started on that, and then in my next video, I will talk about the final process for finishing off your piece of felt.